Blackwings come out of nowhere here and shake up the Chicago Rosemont Regional. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not expect this level of excitement out here as Blackwings came out of nowhere here and took to the sky of Chicago, proving to us, typically Rosemont's one of the bigger Midwest regions. Actually, I think it is. Between that and Chicago, that and Indianapolis are usually fighting it out, typically for the biggest events in the Midwest here. So to see that, we're hitting Blackwings in top 8 here, it's actually pretty exciting. Now, you also had some other exciting things in this Top Cut. We also had tier elements fighting for a spot in contention, which is, once again, that's also pretty good. These tier builds out here, they've been playing more of the trap-heavy centric builds, and Needlebug's Nest actually has been pretty good. It's actually pretty cool to see Needlebug Nest actually kind of having some love right now in the format. Surprisingly enough, wasn't exactly on my bingo sheet of things to see right now, but okay. And another surprising challenger out here, we also had a Sprite Duelist entering into the arena. And to be honest with you, same thing here. We're kind of at like a nice little reset point here, so a lot of people are kind of adjusting and testing out different waters and variants and things out here. So Sprite definitely has a good chance to kind of show up out here and see what it can do. Now, the rest of your meta for this event, you had 2 Snake Eyes, pretty self-explanatory. It's been the challenger you've been wanting to see for a little while in the meta. Labyrinth, so we're still sticking around with the more standardized anti-meta challenger. And, of course, you had Fire King. So, like most of your Snake Eyes variants, the Fire King variant does have some issues, but it's not like it's an incredibly terrible deck. It's just, most people would rather play pure Snake Eyes at this point. And that's honestly your Top Cut breakdown here. I mean, you also had the branded player. That's also pretty normal. Let's pass on over to those deck lists. All right, so our first list we actually have here, which is our 3rd place finisher, is actually the Power of Pure Snake Eyes. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, I can't wait to see the crazy innovations out here. One, Snake Eyes has been pretty much solved at this point, all right? And I know we're literally 2 weeks into the format. The most exciting things you're going to get out of this are, do we play the Birch? Yes or no? Do we play the Snake Eyes Diabell Star? Yes or no? And are we opting to have cross-out designators built into the main deck? If either of those answers is yes, that's the most exciting thing. Now, there is one other little tech choice down here, and it is the Black Goat Lapse. Being able to specifically declare a card name and blank your opponent from being able to basically do anything with that monster. Need I declare a card name? Neither player can also summon monsters with that original name except from the graveyard. Now, wait a minute here. What if we played this against Tenpai? What if we used this card to deny the Tenpai player the chance to climb up and do the power plays out here? Well, I mean, honestly, there's been a lot of discussion around this card. We initially saw that Japan was playing this for a little while. It did take a little bit of time for this to catch on, but I think that the TCG is going to be messing around with this card, at least in some very early capacities, to decide, is this going to be the right tech choice for us? Okay. Woo! Once again, another deck that I'm going to say this feels more solved than the rest, but it all kind of comes down to this card right here. The fact that Lullaby of Obedience does exist right now in the capacity that it does exist, and the fact that most of the Fire King variant, actually, to be honest with you, I almost feel like the Fire King variant is almost dead at this point. And that's actually very sad to say, because we were so gung-ho on this, but after, things kind of got slaughtered on the last list, it's not like this deck was out here pumping out Baron and things like that. It's just, one of the things this deck had going for it was, obviously, it could pump out Lullaby and be able to just use it so strongly in the mirror match. Being able to, jack not only a Pobbler from your opponent, that's one less Pobbler that they're going to have access to over the course of the game, but just that free 2,000 literally decks in your... I don't know, this card seems pretty good. And, of course, once again, I mean, you're still essentially a Snake Eyes deck at this point. So, you still need to have Cross-Out present here because stupid cards like this, not so much this, and not so much this. But this card can kind of ruin your day. If you're still sticking around on Droll right now in this format, you're probably getting what we like to call the free real estate. And it's actually a pretty good thing to actually see. Oh, hey, this is our Blackwing duelist. Now, I will tell you that I'm actually surprised not to see as many Assault Synchrons in this build. Assault Synchron has been one of those cards that I've seen being tossed around in so many of these decks. Because, once again, I mean, hey, take 700 damage, free special summon, guess what? I mean, everything in here is going to just basically allow you to drop this thing onto the field for essentially free, and it's level 2, which means toggle through your friends and free climb up. Also the fact that, you get access to this, and do I really need to mention to you that being able to roll into a free Dissipator has its own merits. Being able to revive something from the banish pile after you toss it out, the ability to recapitalize on some of the value that has been lost, and also this is another deck that gets to take advantage of Branded Regained. We have learned very, very strongly out here that Branded Regained, in all of the different variations that it has been, the tuck back draw is nuts, but the reviving of a Bysteel to chum block something along the way, putting a Druisworm back up, into the opponent's way, forcing them to kind of answer it, does kind of cause some major problems for them. So, honestly, I'm putting a lot of this deck's success on the fact that Branded Regained is able to interact in the way that it does, tucking back resources and giving you the free little climb-up options you need. Now, our tier elements pile today. Ooh, we want to talk about spicy here. I'm very happy to see that Needlebug's Nest is back in the course of the meta out here. Now, the first thing you might be asking yourself is, well, Robbie, is this too slow? Should we really be dedicating slots to this? Honestly, I think it's fine. You got to remember you have this very good card right here. Transaction rollback, being able to banish itself and copy a trap card is nuts. Did you also forget about Rise to Full Heights? This thing, for those of you that don't know, you can banish this from a grave target one monster you control. Your opponent's monsters cannot attack for the rest of this turn except to attack that monster. And I think people have forgotten out here that basically forcing your opponent to battle into one monster, in addition to getting to target a face-up monster, double its defense, but its defense becomes 0 at the end of the turn. Rise to Full Heights has been a pretty insane card to kind of see the story coming to fruition for what people want to do with this. I also do see here, we do have some transaction rollbacks down here. I feel like this is a pretty basic story at this point, too. Just considering the fact that, transaction rollback, trap trick with the transaction rollback stuff. This is all just free value. Didn't think I would see Magical Spring showing back up, especially after, the loss of the Fire King stuff in the meta, but okay. And our last little challenger in the meta. That's right. That is 32 monsters in the Sprite pile. Now, before you're like, holy crap, man, why are you throwing so much into this? Well, to be honest with you, you don't really feel like you have a lot of choices out here. One of the things that's going to be helping this out right here is the Cyberse gadget. On normal, you can target a level 2 or lower monster graveyard, special summon it, and sure, who gives a crap if its effects are negated. But if this is sent from the field to the graveyard, you get to make a gadget token, which, guess what? You can you can turn this into a Lingaribo and get your token, and then suddenly Link Devotee, Link Disciple are looking like some pretty gosh darn good cards. And that's this little stuff. And you also have the Ashima. You also have the G-Golem and Crystal Heart. You're getting away with some pretty nasty little link climbing options that I don't think a lot of people have really, they've been forgotten about in the course of this deck. Cute side deck options. You have the Change of Heart. You also have the Mind Control. That's a nice one to actually see. Mind Control, I felt like almost got phased out. And Snatch Steal are back. I also see that we are playing the Gamma Burst for the OTK. Who doesn't love a whole field of level 2 rank 2s just OTKing your opponent? Well, it'd be like that. And honestly, there's not a lot else to talk about with this. This deck definitely has its exciting moments, 150%. And that's cool to see. So that's your breakdown for the Rosemont Regional. Some very exciting things here, I will say. So please, leave a comment down below on what you guys think. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.